Welcome back, everybody, to the Power Hour podcast, hosted here on the Geckoverse Channel on YouTube. Tonight, we're excited to bring you a leopard gecko breeder from San Diego, California. His name is Mike. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Patula, but I'm going to ask him in just a minute. You all know him as Molave, and I really hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm also going to ask him that. Also, his store is called Molave's Designer Geckos. If you don't know who he is, he's on Instagram. Ready to spend an hour with us and the community live. We're pleased to bring you episode 8. As always, please remember to take this next 60 seconds to share this link with your friends as we are live, and we do appreciate the comments. Share it with your favorite breeders. If you feel like showing Mike some love, don't forget to go and give him a thumbs up on this episode, and we'll see you guys in just 1 minute. All right, welcome in, everybody. How you doing, Mike?
Hello.
Riys, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Joe? How you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. So, Mike, I'm pretty sure I butchered your name just now, man. It looks like Patula. It could be Patula. How do you say it?
It's Patula. So
Patula?
Just Patula without the S is how we describe that one.
You know, I was actually looking around for information about, your hobby and stuff like that, and you're pretty prominent out there, but it's amazing how much information about you is not with people.
Sure.
For example, Riys and I were having a conversation earlier, and we swore we weren't going to try to make it too funny or anything, but like we were trying to remember. I know we talked how to pronounce your hobby handle, and so what I did is he went and looked at a couple, I went and looked at a couple, and we got some different perspectives on how people say the name. And so we wanted to go ahead and share those, and then you tell us how to say it correctly.
Okay.
So I've heard, I should say Molave, and then I've heard people say Munlave, like there's an N or man. Munlave? Is that right, Riys?
Man love and like.
Man love, yeah. Somebody said that. I'm like, Molave. That's the big one, Molave.
Yeah, everybody says Molave. I said Molave for 2 years till you corrected me. So.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's unfortunately it's not man love. Unfortunately, maybe I'll have to change it. But it's Molave.
Fortunately, Molave.
Sorry to hurt that person's feeling.
Molave. Emphasis on the E
at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you guys hear first. It's not Molave. It's Molave. Okay.
Yeah, I've never even thought about it being pronounced Molave, but it's not that.
We're in America. We don't read correctly. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Molave is the one I heard Riys saying the most often. Actually, it's the one that made me think I was saying it wrong. So I'm really glad that we were able to kind of get you to say it for us. What is Molave? What does that mean? Well, to you, I should say.
So when I wanted to name the business, I just wanted what I thought was a simple 6-letter word. Apparently, it wasn't as simple as I thought, and I just kind of came up with that word. And then I found out that it is an actual word, and it's a type of tree in the Philippines that is kind of a sacred tree that there's a whole meaning behind. So it's kind of cool. I'm stoked that it means something. That it means something to people. It's a good thing. But it was just kind of a word. I just liked it, and I was going to use it for
the geckos.
No, it was actually I was either going to be for the geckos or for when I was still a chef for my business, but I decided to go full-time with this. So there you go.
So you are now full-time leopard geckos.
Mm-hmm. For the past since July 23.
Okay, so it's been a minute here,
Year
about
and
a
a
year
half.
and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you do have a history with reptiles. I was going to ask you for folks who are looking to learn a little bit more about you. Give us a rundown of your history with reptiles and how that applies to leopard geckos now.
Sure. Yeah. So my first like pet, besides from like catching lizards and stuff in Southern California, but my first pet was a leopard gecko, and I think I was 10, and we got it. And then we got another one, and they bred, and I got my first babies when I was 10 or 11 or whatever that was, and just gave them to friends. So it's definitely in this pretty early. But the big, then I had bearded dragons and more leopard geckos. And one of the big things was, I think it was maybe 14, 15. And we were going to go to Wisconsin. And I just randomly remembered that Garrett DeMeyer lived in Wisconsin. And so I hit him up. There's no Instagram or anything then. And I went to his facility and I toured his facility. And, that was 20 something years ago. But that like really stuck. Like I remember being that young and like having a clipboard and like writing things down then. Like, this is how you do it. Like that was back when it was like the coolest thing was a super hypo tangerine carrot tail baldy. That's what they were called.
Okay.
So then I did that. And then when we lived in Illinois, there was a show every 3 weeks at the same location. So that was kind of like, I just go to that, and it was like 10 minutes from my house. So I would go to that all the time. Then I got into ball pythons and fat tails, and then less leopard geckos, and I did that for a while. Brought like the patternless fat tails and the ghost fat tails and stuff, and then like I said, ball pythons. But and then I got out, and then moved to California, or back to California, and got back in like heavily. This will be my 5th season.
Okay.
Okay, so you've only been 5 years breeding Leos?
Well, no, this would be this. I'm considering this my 8th year breeding Leos because I bred them. When I bred fat tails, ball pythons, and leopard geckos. When I was breeding all that stuff. Yeah, but like I'm just saying, this will be my 5th year in a row. So that's kind of.
Oh, gotcha. So you did it for like 3. You took a break.
Yeah, I had
a break was like 10 years.
Yeah.
Why so long, dude?
Well, maybe it wasn't quite 10 years. Yeah, it was like 8 or 9 years. I don't know. I just quit my job and I moved to California, and I just moved to California.
Yeah. No, I did that once. I feel you.
Yeah. But I think I was just burnt out, kind of. I think I just listened to the negativity of it. Like, there's no way you can make this for a living. Like everyone wants to tell you that, especially people that have no involvement in reptiles. They're just like, oh, it's stupid. You can't do it. Yeah. So I probably listened to that. That was probably
so you didn't follow your heart, dude. You got to follow your heart.
It's true.
Don't listen to those people, dude. You got to follow your heart.
No, you do. I promise you'll be happier.
Yeah. So obviously following your heart, that would be the thing that brought you back in, I suppose. What year would you say you did exactly come back?
Mm-hmm. I guess that would be 20, like when most of us did, right before COVID. I had I had a few bandits before that. I remember, in like probably like 17, and like some like random trempers. But I didn't start taking it seriously until 2020, and subconsciously it's probably partially to do with just COVID, like a lot of us. But like
probably.
But I also had more room, so
extra
I was
funds.
I've always wanted to do it, like I said. And then that was that was probably the big part, was just being able to have, like, instead of just having a space for one rack, because we're also addicted to this. One rack is not going to.
Nope.
Yeah. So
I got a little bit.
Yeah, one rack. Yeah. So when I was like, oh, I can fit X amount of racks now. And,
yeah.
Nice, dude. So
one of the things I noticed is, and I try to pay attention to each individual breeder so that, when things come back to you, like information will drop, rumors will fly. I try to pay attention to what I see the breeder doing. And one of the things I noticed about you is that you gathered animals from the right breeders, or what I call trusted breeders.
Yeah.
It doesn't appear from your Instagram or from the animals that I see that you have any animals from just anybody that's, kind of like getting into the hobby new or untrusted.
Hmm.
How, my question is, getting back in and after being out for so long, how did you know who to go to? Is that something you always knew, or did you spend some time,
No,
learning?
I think it's just about how people represent themselves,
Okay.
and usually the top people generally represent themselves in a certain way versus the rest.
Mm.
So I gravitated towards them, um, and I mean, maybe you could just say it just worked out because I really didn't know any of these people. I didn't know anybody, so I just kind of it just made sense to me to go to the people that had those pictures, had the website, or just had, because I didn't even start taking Instagram seriously till last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so, I had like 100 followers for a year because I just never even did anything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even about their Instagram. It was just kind of, going on Morph Market, and certain people just stick out.
So do you think that was like marketing that stuck out to you, or was it the
Yeah,
get
I mean, you could call it,
and the
it's the, oh
popularity?
no, it's always the geckos because, you can have you could produce beautiful stuff, but if you just assume it's going to sell because it's beautiful, it's not gonna work. Like you're not gonna, like, you have to put the time in to present it properly, and some of those breeders did, and then we know, you buy one thing from someone and you really liked the whole process, not just the animal, but also the dealing with them. You're a repeat customer. So it's like, I might have bought one thing from whoever, and I really like dealing with them. So, you know, now they got a lot more of my business.
Yeah.
So would you say you learned a lot of your like business ethics and maybe tactics from your dealings with other breeders? Or did you already
uh,
have that in your head beforehand? Like,
I
um,
think I've just always been, I've always liked, um, not that I don't wear it by any means, but I've always appreciated like high fashion, and like, just like, I just like, it just makes sense to me if you present something in the best way you can, that
yeah,
it's more eyes are gonna see it and appreciate it. If you're taking pictures in a dirty cup, in the dark, I mean, I don't want to buy it. So it could be the most beautiful animal in the world, though. But
yeah,
like, well, this person's not even taking the time to appreciate, to show the appreciation of the
of the animal. Yeah.
the living art. Yeah, honestly. So um,
So
yeah.
no, so that brings me to a couple of things I wanted to ask you about. Like, you do market pretty well in a sense of like you're very clean, very professional. There's not too much going on in your logo. It's very simplified. The colors even pop. A lot of people I notice, like even me, I go with like black and other colors and stuff like that. But you went the opposite way. You went to blue and white. What was the choice for the blue and white? And then what where did you come up with those boxes? I've seen them on Instagram very very quickly, but those little boxes you give away at expos are like super cool, very classy. Like, that was like a level up right there. You know what I mean? So how did that come about too?
um, Trying to remember what the first part is. I just remembered here in the box. Oh, the color. The
Colors
color.
of your logo.
Honestly, it just, I can't give any credit to myself for that. It was kind of like, oh, this looks good. To be like,
Just random.
maroon is my favorite color, so it's like, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Um, it just kind of made sense to me. I like that not that, it's not aggressive, if that makes sense. Like
No,
a
100%.
black and red could be aggressive. But the boxes, it just goes back to presentation. Um, People think that these are so crazy expensive. They're like $1. There's nothing. I mean,
Really, I
if you
thought it was
can't,
going to be more than that.
okay. I mean, it's probably a little bit more than that, but it's not like it's, if you're selling only $20 geckos, and yeah, I highly recommend you don't get these boxes. But um, because you would make no money. But no, it just made sense to me. Again, the presentation, like either people were doing nothing or they were putting it in a bag. I was like, well, a box is relatively easy to carry, and we have like a number of different sizes. And when someone's walking around a show, especially a giant, or a dark blue box is pretty. Like they're gonna, hopefully know that it's from me.
It's definitely going to also send people looking for those boxes. They want to know where they're coming from. And when I walked up to your table last year, mid-year Pomona show, I remember the first thing I saw was the white. What do you call those things? They're
Tablecloth.
The white tablecloth, but also the display case.
Oh, the displays,
nice and clean. You had your rounds in there and geckos presented to people, and they were the ones that were for sale too. It wasn't like it was, these are my breeders and the for sale stuff's over here. So it was nice and clean. Boxes were stacked all behind you. And honestly, man, that little bit is going to be different if you're selling something a little more expensive. So I thought that was really cool. I will say the M and then maroon, that would have, pretty cool.
I mean, like I'll probably rebrand and change the color at some point. I'm certainly in no rush to do that, but it doesn't mean I can't do different colors, especially with this, or we can all do different colors for the same logo. So, Now, do
you keep anything besides leopard geckos, or is that the animal you have?
Not yet. It's just leopards right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you plan on getting? You said not yet. So what's coming?
I'm getting I don't have too much to talk about them because I'm not like that versed, but the Europlatus species, the leaf-tail geckos.
Leaf-tail. I was like,
I see a big potential in those. But first of all, I really like them. But I also think there's a big that they're going to be pretty. Yeah, but just like anything else, if you don't love them, that's why I don't have a bunch of them right now, because just have one pair, and go from there. And
kind of build slowly.
And don't never do anything just because you think it's going to be popular. You have to love doing it. Like that's going back to like the leopard geckos. It's like I like those more than the fat tails and more than the ball python. So that's why I got back into that specifically.
That's why we're all on the show.
Yeah. And I hate crickets, so the fact that they don't have to eat crickets.
Yeah, no. I do have a husbandry type question. Do you have any? I know you have quite a few animals. I'm going to ask you that in a minute. But do you have help, or is it a one-man show?
As far as like caring for everything, it's just me. My wife helps a lot, like at the shows, or like cutting hide boxes. Or just like ripping paper towels, because we just like take the roll and just rip them, and then just have giant stacks of them.
Yeah.
So it just makes your life a lot easier. But as far as just the day to day, it's just me, and I don't see that ever changing, because I don't want to get past a certain size anyways. Because once you have an employee, it's just, in my opinion, it's just a whole different ball game.
Yeah, you kind of lose a little passion, and it becomes more work. Yeah.
And then you have to sell way more to make it so that you're even paying for that person. So it's like,
what size?
Less hands-on, of course, too. So,
what size reptile room are you working with, if you don't mind?
Well, right now we have 3 rooms. I'm in one of them. So I don't know, what is that? 500 square feet or something combined.
It's nice.
Combined, but that's 3 different rooms. So, and I'll be maxing out this room this year, and then hopefully we can build a facility at the end of the year or early next year.
Okay.
In a different state.
So what kind of collection are you working with, dude? 3 rooms is a lot. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like I said,
what is your goal for breeders? Like your cap at how many breeders? How many do you want to produce every year as well?
Sure. So definitely want to have a lot of breeders, but not. You don't want to, or I don't. Excuse me. Have a lot of breeders, but not breed them all.
Hey, Mike.
By any means.
Hey, Mike. Pause real quick, because you're
right
connecting.
now I just
Your
have
connection's really
200
bad.
breeders, but I'm not breeding 200 females this year.
I can hear him.
You can hear him?
So the connection's really bad.
Yeah, it did just go bad. Let's see. Hey, Mike, do me a favor. If you can, that left arrow, go ahead and back out and come back in. It'll take you just a second. Nice. He heard me. That means it's still working. Am I still here? You're still
Yeah,
here.
you're still here, dude.
Yeah. So I have 200 breeders, but not breed them all every year. We produce just like about 550 babies this year.
That's a lot.
And I never want to go above like 750 would be way more, or not way more, but like not. I don't really want to go above that, like,
Yeah, that's a lot, dude.
because
Yeah.
I know I'm confident. I'm confident that I can just do that by myself and not, nothing will, not having the time. I'll still be able to do everything that I'm doing.
Yeah. So this is all you do. I know before that you were a chef. And so, if I'm not mistaken, that was your business. You owned a business as a catering company. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I had that. Yeah, and then I worked at restaurants, but then I had a catering company. It's more like you call it a private chef company.
Gotcha. Would you say like some of those business tactics or ethics that you had to apply there kind of maybe transferred on your return and helped you kind of like launch? Yeah.
Yeah, because in like the area of food that I was in, it was so much about presentation, like we were talking about, with just like how the food is presented, and then like writing menus that make sense, that are concise and simple. Only putting 3 descriptors per dish instead of just like some really big thing, so just keeping stuff tight. So yeah, it definitely, and then time management for sure, because there's a lot of stuff to do in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So, and then taxes.
Yeah. Kind of gives you a leg up on like when you launch and stuff like that. I recently sold my business, and I can tell you, man, it definitely gave me a leg up on kind of how to get in, enter what to grab while you can, and I mean, because of it, there's so much stock in here, and it's just I don't think I'll have to buy anything for more than a year, So
you say that, and then you go buy geckos next week. So,
yeah. Well, I didn't mean geckos. So,
oh, okay.
Obviously,
you took all the osteo. You took all the osteoform.
I did do that. I'm not ashamed. I saw it coming. It comes every year. Now,
smart move.
It shows. I kind of noticed that you have some connections. You were not going to do Pomona, if I remember this story correctly, and then I was getting an animal from you, so you were suddenly vending Pomona, which means you had to have known somebody. Do you know a lot of the people vending shows? Are they like friends of yours, or how's that working out?
No, I mean, I don't know anybody. I mean, yes, some vendors now, but just reach out. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Rami's the promoter, owner of the show. I met him, don't get me wrong, but like we don't talk or anything like on a basis by any means. So, they shows, especially most shows, they want vendors that present themselves in a certain way.
That's true.
Once you get known and people see you, it will give you a leg up no matter who you are, because they want most of them, and hopefully all of them, but they want their show to have a certain look, and so they want clean vendors. That's I don't know.
True.
It makes sense. It makes sense to me. So, no, I mean, as far as that show, I just reached out to him, and he's like, "Oh, I think I could," and there you go. Because people cancel pretty late on at these shows. Like we just did that super show last weekend, and there was a couple empty tables. I knew some people that literally called on Saturday morning, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got 2 empty tables." So, it always happens. Someone gets sick or this, that, or the other. So, No, it's not like I don't have any hookups or anything like that.
I gotcha.
Speaking of which, I was gonna ask you how the Super Show went for you.
It was good. It was a good show.
It was a good show.
It was really busy. Really busy.
So you did well. I'm assuming you did well.
It was really successful show. But not just for me. A lot of the other people I talked to, not just leopard gecko people, but like crested people and other like. It was a good show for a lot of people.
I mean, usually it is like that's why I was asking you specifically. Mostly the Leo breeders kind of don't do the best, but mostly cresteds and balls and all the other stuff excel at shows, even at the little shows. So it's good that Leo people can excel at the shows as well. But
I mean, a lot of leopard geckos sold at that show. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get into some projects, bro. So you obviously produce some really nice looking geckos. You got an eye for pairing. What are some of your favorite projects you're working with this year coming up?
I still love the Trempers, like the Red Diamond project in general. That's one of my favorite. But all the albinos, really. The Rainwater has so much potential that we're starting to, get into. It's, some of the stuff we produced this year, and it was so nice, and just other people like Boa and Bayside, like just some really cool waters being produced, and so that's exciting. And then Bell, I'm a little bit in Bell, but it's still pretty cool. And then some of my Tangerine Bold stuff, the reverse stripe one, that one in particular, pretty stoked on. And
how long have you been working on that actually?
That was F3, so that's F3. So this year I'm hoping to, because that one female gave me all reverse stripes like that. If you the Instagram post. So it's one of the few pairings I'm doing again this year that see if they all turn out like that again. So
can we ask what's in it? I know you said no cipher, but like you don't have to if you don't want to. You don't have to.
There's Bengal in it.
Bengal.
Bengal's in a lot of stuff because it's such a strong gene. I really like that gene.
Yeah, those right there, man.
But yeah, there's Bengal in it.
I mean, you're onto something there, dude. It's obviously reproducible.
It's cool.
See it multiple times. That one in the middle.
Yeah, the one on the left is a male. That's the only male I got, and that's going. He just started, I just started pairing him. So hopefully, but the two females they're not going to be bred this year. They're too young. But we have a couple. I
like how he's just chilling, like he's got his arm over. I say she. She's like, "That's my girl."
It's so hard to get sometimes these videos of getting three. I just posted one a little bit ago. I don't know if it's on my Instagram right now, but I just posted it, and it took me like 20 minutes to get them to sit there. That's one thing I will say. Lots of people ask me how I get the geckos to pose in these pictures. I'm like, patience. Just like, it takes a while.
Patience is key, man.
Yeah. I'm like, there's no secrets. I'm not spraying them with glue. It's just like put my hand over it and then just hope it stays. Because I'm not even using a tripod. I'm holding my camera, so it's like I'll get them to stay, and then I have to go to, and then it just gets all messed up.
I do the same thing, dude. And I'm glad the camera has the strap because I'll put it around my neck and then just hold them for a little bit like this. And then I'm like, oh, you're good. Okay. And I'll take the camera and try to get photos. So, yeah, you just got to be patient with them and let them calm down.
Yeah, it's all patience.
So you got that going. So that's F4 coming up. That's going to be pretty cool. What would you
and then the Rainwaters.
The Rainwaters. But what would you say is the longest project you've worked on?
Well, it would just be the 4 years. So it'd be if you go to my Instagram, I could show you a project I've been.
Joe, what are you doing?
Moving over to. Sorry, I was on a different screen. All right.
There we go. And he's gone.
Just in time. He's back.
Oh, bet.
Um,
Yeah.
just scroll down a bit. I don't remember which one it was. No, it's
Longest project
but
you've worked
it's one
on.
of the. It's something I started reading into Red Diamond 2 seasons ago.
Okay.
It's it has lavender bulbs and stuff in it, but it's 100 like all the albinos have lost zero pattern. Like they just stayed exactly how they were from like month 2, so they're just like orange and white essentially. That's definitely one of my more, and the heads that come from it are so cool. But that's definitely my longest. That'll be my this will be the 5th year of working with that specific project.
Dang, so you put in some time, dude. So you've been doing that one since you came back, pretty much.
Yeah, because it was my one of the first pairs. Why is it not my new? It's not showing my most recent Instagram post.
Refresh, Joe. Maybe refresh. There you go.
This one,
that's like the desert cinnamon thing.
Okay. That's where we're at.
Which post?
The first one. That's the most recent post is desert and cinnamon stuff.
Okay.
Like the left desert, and we're still trying to figure out the other thing.
Gotcha.
How it works and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting, and there's something there for sure. A lot of potential.
It's non-albino, correct?
Yeah, that left one is not albino.
The desert, is supposed to be non-albino.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of interesting in itself, in my opinion. The non-albino, because to me, it's just all day long. If it was me and you asked me and no one told me anything, I would tell you it's albino.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's a tremper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, especially like if you take a regular tremper, put it in the sun. Oftentimes they're going to close their eyes. If you take these and put it in the sun, they don't close their eyes.
Okay. That's kind of a giveaway.
They definitely don't have light sense. Yeah, it kind of. And then like we have some that are like obviously black eyes and not red eyes, but they look like that one on the left. Similar to that one on the left. So there's something. I think it's got like something that holds that type of pattern and color. And then even after they breed, they still look really cool too. That's something I'm meaning to do next week is start taking pictures of proven breeder like red diamonds to show like how much color and pattern these are actually keeping. It's pretty cool. Like I have stuff in their second and third year. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, because that's a big thing. A lot of people say it washes out when they're older, but not all the time.
Well, pure red diamonds do.
Yeah. The crosses hold a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're really strong for the most part. And
so another thing you work with.
I don't work with too much pure stuff.
Another thing you work with is cipher a lot. So I wanted to ask you, I know other breeders wanted to like separate, marble eye from cipher, but obviously we've learned in the last couple months that it's not inseparable. It has to be one with the other. Yeah. How did you feel about that when you heard about it? Were you one that wanted to separate it eventually, or did you care at all, or no?
No, I didn't care. I didn't care whatsoever. It's just an eye gene. I'm more interested in pattern and color. Like it's just like I hatched some marble eyes on my ciphers this year, and they were, and then I hatched some ciphers that were really cool too. I'm not that stressed about an eye color. It's just me. It's just not as high on my list of know what's in it and then just make really cool stuff. I'm more interested in like.
I'm kind of like that too. It's like, well, this is what's there. Yeah. Let's just work with what's there and kind of make it happen.
Yeah,
with certain stuff.
And like, and I'm excited. Like one of our holdback Tremper ciphers, he has all like a line down his back and then 2 lines on the side, and they're still there. He's like 7 months old, so that stuff is I'm excited for for that stuff. It's just, we produce, and then the gem cipher is awesome. So
Yeah, the gem ciphers look crazy.
Yeah, and then we should produce rainbow ciphers this year.
Yeah, you picked one up, right?
Yeah. No, I got a cipher posset rainwater from John last year, and bred to rainwater, produced some doubles, but then I also made that same rainwater and bred it to a number of eclipses to make sure it wasn't head eclipse. And I'm confident that it's not head eclipse. I think I have like a 20-something, 25 or something babies, so I think that's a fair size. I could be wrong, but it's not like I sold anything from it. So but I'm still breeding that same male this year, so know for sure if he's had eclipse or not. So, but I'm not. I'm pretty confident that'll be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a cool project.
Yeah. So with everything we're kind of learning about you, and you coming back in, and how you directed yourself on your entry, what would you say, in your opinion, kind of sets you apart from other breeders in the hobby? And I do mean everybody. It's what really says Mike more than everyone else?
Or Molave. What says Molave stand out? Yeah.
The way I try to present the company and the animals that in the company, I'm trying to be high-end looking as possible, even when it's, whatever, a lower end gecko. I want to present our hobby in the best way I possibly can, and be nice to everybody, as lame as that sounds, but like, obviously doing these shows is to get my name out there, the company name out there, but I'm trying to treat everyone really well, because it's amazing how it's just constantly new people coming into leopard geckos, and it all starts with a pet. So whether that's $100 pet or $1,000, we have to present ourselves as possible so that people are interested in like, oh, this is a cool guy, or oh, this is a cool woman. Like I like talking to them, and because like I remember just the other day meeting up with someone, and I think we talked for like 2 hours. He was picking up geckos, and we just talked. I'm like, oh, I gotta go, dude. Like, start talking, just keep going, and because I just love doing this, and hopefully that shows in what I'm doing, and and I think that's like that.
I mean, it
just to make sure that we
definitely shows.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what brought you here today too. We took notice, we've watched you, market and do things. So
the better we can show off our hobby, it's better. It's good for everybody.
I agree. And the positivity angle is cool too, man. We got a little bit of back and forth here and there, and I think it's all going away. Like, I really feel like there's this like wave of just cool people that want to talk to one another. They want to reconcile differences and hang out, and it just seems like a lot lighter in general. I grew up in California on a surfboard, so lighter is always better for me because I'm nowhere near the ocean now, so I don't have that stress release. So it's like just anything cool, easy, light. I like that.
I definitely I would agree, and it's competitive. It's competitive, and that's what happens, and it's so much better for the hobby just to, like, if something is off, or you just message the person, be like, hey man, this is either a beef, or it's like, hey, I think you labeled this wrong, whatever. It's really not that hard to message the person, and then if it's like, usually that stuff kind of works its way out for like the bad breeder, so to speak, but it's there's no need to be so negative, and it's gonna happen again. But
I mean, that's true, dude, because I mean, you helped me out with the labeling. You saw Morph Market, and you shot me a message and helped me correct it and stuff, and I appreciated that. Some people take that as an attack, you know what I mean? Because I've had that happen before too. Matter of fact, I almost kind of did the same thing with you like 2 years ago, but I didn't want to because I didn't want to start drama. When
Yeah.
I saw some
Yeah.
things,
It's
het red diamond, and
yeah.
but we're all learning things, so maybe it was a learning curve. So I didn't want to attack, but but I didn't want to cause drama. So that's what I'm saying. And then you reached out, was super polite. We fixed it. No worries. You taught me something. I was like, great. But I was kind of a punk and didn't hit you up. So it works both ways. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get
Yeah.
nervous to approach people and think you're trying to help, but then they take it a negative way. But it all
hmm
goes with being an adult about things, So just got to
Yeah.
talk and
That's the biggest thing
communicate.
is just being an adult. Yeah. It's like so big. There's the amount of mislabeling from every breeder. It's happened. I definitely did it before, and I'm sure I will do it again. But we can't always just assume that that's them trying, that breeder trying to
Of course, of
pull.
course.
It's it wasn't for me, and I'm sure it wasn't for you. You know what I mean? It's just like we can't
Joe
always
was
just
just
assume
doing
that
it 3 weeks
things.
ago. So yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully he learned his lesson. No. But like,
Yeah.
it's not always people trying to screw people over.
Yeah.
So because I bought from I don't know people that labeled it the same way. So
Yeah. I've
let's
had those
just
arguments
relax.
too, where I'm like, "That's how it was labeled when I
Yeah.
got it," and they're like, "That's
Yeah.
wrong." And I'm like,
Like,
"Okay, well,
okay.
I'll fix it, I guess," and then go talk to that person. And they're like,
Yeah.
"No, that's correct." I'm like, "Well, I don't know who to believe anymore, so let me just figure out myself."
Yeah. Just relax.
Yeah, right.
So
It's
I obviously I've heard this and that and the other thing about the next 3 to 5 years for you. One of them was a potential move, like to another state. Is there any accuracy there? Are you planning on going somewhere new? Is there anything in the
yeah.
works for that?
We can't. Yeah, we're just looking um, to buy a house in California and to build on it. It's just really not feasible. So most likely moving like to Arizona or whatever. I could move anywhere, but obviously, I want my wife to be happy. So we're by the end of the year to have that decision made because I'll outgrow this. I just keep something has to happen. I'm not getting out. I'm not going to produce 200. So
Yeah.
it's just it's in the works, and like the planning of the building and stuff is moving along. But to actually where's it going to go is a whole different.
Yeah.
I've had my building planned out since for like 20 years from
Yeah.
when I went to Garrick to my
Yeah.
Did
his
his
place is
place
huge.
inspire you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think don't quote me on this. His place is a few thousand square feet at least. I can't remember. Multiple rooms, like huge. I went to when I was. This is a long time ago. Again, I think I was like 16. A good friend of mine who's older than me was heavily into ball pythons, and we we drove up to Brian Barczyk's facility. So, like, if you want to, like, back then, I think it was 12,000 square feet or something, 3 buildings.
No,
Um,
that's a lot.
that was insane. That was a lot to take in.
So you want to stay somewhere in between,
nothing.
not thousands of
I want
square
like
feet,
if I
but
could. No, if I
large enough.
1,500 would be amazing. 1,500 would be awesome, but a
Yeah.
1,000, yeah,
Okay.
it's they're leopard geckos. They don't take up that much. Want the office and
That's
stuff
what
like
they
that. So.
say until it takes up all
Yeah.
the space. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's like Pokemon.
it takes up a lot.
Catch them all, each morph.
Yeah. I filled this room up
Well,
really
like,
quick, so it definitely sneaks
but
up
like
on
right
me.
now we're packed shit. It's like on a chair. You know what I mean? Like I don't even have any area to do shit to do boxes. So we need some more space.
Yeah.
It'll come. And more. I want another incubator and so stuff like that.
How many incubators do you have?
What's that?
How many incubators do you have?
Just 2. two of the sea serpents, just a male and a female. But I want another one for like 84, 85 degrees.
Oh, to do like a mixture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just like so I don't feel stressed out like that if something went down or something,
Yeah, a little backup plan.
I still have so that kind of stuff.
That's awesome, man. Well, this is one of those questions that we ask everybody. Kind of stemmed from when we had Matt on a long time ago. So your Mount Rushmore of breeders, the people who inspired you the most. You want to tell us a little bit about them and who they are?
Sure. One would be Garrett, like we talked about with Garrett DeMeyer.
Yeah.
I'm not as like, we don't know each other as well because there's, such a long time in between, but, I was at his facility all the time, and helping him and stuff. So he definitely taught me a lot. Of course, Trevor, because of what he did. Bubba, I already gave that to you. But, what he did for, our hobby and all the cool stuff. And Brian Barczyk, even though like I was lucky enough to meet him and hang out with him when I was younger, and he was a really nice guy.
Nah, that's cool. That's cool. You got to meet him. I've always regret I never got to meet him.
When I first met him, like at the facility, and snakes were, $50,000, $20,000, crazy numbers. I was 16. I didn't have any money, but just took the time to talk, and like took the time to talk. So it was just just seemed like a good guy. So, but yeah, those would be I don't really know anyone else. Like I wouldn't have Mount Rushmore, but like Jason Haygood is a buddy of mine.
That's Gecko Genetics. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we'll put him in the Mount Rushmore. He can feel good. But we did a lot of stuff together. He lived like an hour and a half away from me, and I would go up to his place a lot, and nice. I never realized how big he really was because he was producing pretty much like what I'm producing now. He's a nice guy, and we had some little projects together, and, help like shipping, like first time like shipping to Jan and stuff like that. He was definitely a big help for me in that overseas market.
Well, that's cool, man. Yeah. All really good answers. Gecko Genetics tangerines are still around everywhere, so they've been. Some of them went through a name change, but I mean, they're all basically his animals, which they're awesome.
Well, it's always been called Mandarin.
So
it's just the name of his company was Gecko Genetics, and it's always been called the Mandarin. I literally had dinner with him last weekend, and he told me that. He's like, well, it's always Mandarin, but my company is Gecko Genetics.
Yeah, I heard it different. I guess I would have to speak with him. I speak to a guy that lived in Arizona. He's from Colorado. His name is Ray Roner. I know he's got a book out, and he had purchased a Gecko Genetics tangerine. I believe he crossed it a certain way or whatever, and he named that one Mandarin. He did the same thing with Zorro Bandit. The bandit's name was Zorro, and then anything that are those, from what I understand, are descendants of those animals. But that's how I understand it from talking to him. But I
call him up, dude. Call him up right now.
And figure out the truth on it, I guess, huh? So.
I mean, he told me it was called, like, I don't know. He's like, oh no, I call it Mandarin. I was like, okay, I don't really care. I don't even have him. But yeah, I can ask him for sure. But it's just beautiful tangerines, that's for sure. And that's what's interesting to think about too, is like back then, which this was like 15 years ago, like sometimes some of the stuff back then would blow us away now. It's interesting how things like go in cycles, and like there's stuff back then, like tangerines and albinos back then that like from Alberta or something that would just blow away some of the stuff we have, 15 years later.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So, what's the future of Molave look like? Like, do you plan on
Malawi.
being here 20 years? Are you trying to tap out at, oh, I'm retiring at 50? Are you trying to scoop poop until you die? Like, what's the plans for you, my man?
I mean, retiring at 50, as far as not producing so much, that sounds great. But I would still be breeding geckos for sure. Um, yeah, no, I just want to keep going, keep expanding. I have like aspirations to be a part of like 1% for the planet, and like creating a green, semi-green facility. It's a whole thing. That again, this is what I was thinking 20 years ago. But I just want to. I want the company to be, just like I said, a positive, not just for leopard geckos, but for the whole reptile community. And
Okay.
because what I've tried to do is that I want. Yes, I'm the owner and I take care of everything. Like everything's Molave. Like it's not just me. It's like the company. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that to be a more
Molave.
like
So
just
you
a
don't want to. So you don't want to be the face of the company. You want the company to be the face of the company.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense. You
yeah.
gotta.
And that's why we do certain stuff. Like when our Instagram posts, like I don't put what the gecko is. I'm just showing off what is really cool. And if you want to
Yeah.
know what it is, like you can ask me. But like kind of just like that's my holdbacks, and this is what I think is really neat. And and it works out too. Don't get me wrong. Like people will message you like, "Oh, what do you got available from the project?" But um,
Oh Lord,
that would be
that's
nice.
funny.
That would see like Bubba's the man. Bubba, I love Bubba. And
Yeah.
Canova is a very
Yeah, they live here. They live about an hour from me.
really. You should try to go there. Like that would be.
Yeah.
I really respect what he does. Like really, and that's kind of like how I am approaching what I do.
Yeah.
So he kind of belongs
So
on
like I
your
want to do.
your
I
fourth
want
Mount
to do the.
Rushmore. So
Oh yeah, no, you're right. I should have, because I really appreciate what he does, and that's kind of my like doing these podcasts and like like, but it's not my like I'm the owner of Molave, of course, but that's I just want like it's Molave and like this is Mike of this, and like getting the like we have to, if we want to keep growing this, we have to
yeah.
get to the people, and like I said before, like present ourselves in a certain way, and
Yeah.
again, that's just my opinion, but
Yeah, it's an
we can't always
interesting
just be,
transition how some of the people are kind of almost morphing themselves into the way we do the business and how we treat each other and the way things are run and when you think about how things were before and then photos started becoming individual per gecko instead of here's a generic photo of the animal, you'll get one of these
mhm,
if you buy this, and
yeah.
social media has played a big factor into it. So yeah, you're making really good points. I think the gecko hobby in general, with the breeders like us and the people in the comments watching the show, it's really interesting to see it shifting and just going in this positive direction.
Yeah, it's
So,
because that's what's going to happen, and it's going to keep going that way, in my opinion, and that what that does too is it just makes people respect it more, and which is going to help us when when states are trying to ban reptiles
yeah,
and all that, like the more positivity and and joining USARC and that kind of stuff, that's just it's only good. It's what's going to help our hot, everybody, like just because we don't breed cresteds or whatever, like everyone reflects on everybody. Because the amount, like, especially when you had a show, the amount of people that come up and be like, okay, I'm trying to decide between a crested gecko and a leopard gecko. So like everyone's talking to the same people, and
yeah,
let's just again present ourselves in the
Yeah.
best way we can.
yeah, yeah. So we're coming up on our hour. I actually have a really interesting, kind of a hot topic right now is shipping, and I definitely want to pick your brain on that right before we wrap this. But there's a lot of stress in shipping, man. I don't know if you've kind of noticed, like when your animals don't show up on time, when your animals are going to a specific breeder who might be new, little comments you get from them that might scare the living shit out of you just because you're like, wait, what is it doing? And then, you realize they just don't kind of understand what they're looking at. So then you're helpful to them. To kind of give a really good example, I remember I was prepping for Heidi's show, and one of the things I like to do is if you've done a podcast in the past and it's not one of mine or whatever, I'll go watch as much of that as I can, and I prefer to do that so that I don't duplicate questions to the best of my ability. And I had somebody doing like some shipping scare, and it was like a lot of stress, and I wanted to be like, okay, you're annoying, go away, don't buy my animals, but I watched that podcast, and on there, Seth and Heidi were just talking about good customer service. And I remember that, the way Seth kind of presents himself as somebody who, he struggles with, he gives really direct answers, and he says it's not for everybody, but he tries. And then to hear that he has such great customer service, I was like, you know what? I know that shipping is stressful, but I need to do better at this. And I kind of learned that prepping for that show. I was kind of wondering how, this is a long walk, but how do you handle stress like that when it comes to shipping, the care you have for your animals, and new breeders? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this shipping is very stressful for me, especially during the winter because we're constant, you're having to check zip codes every day and make sure that this weather is this, whatever. Luckily, being in California, you're lucky. Like I never have to worry about my weather, but I take that back if it's too hot here, but you know what I mean? It's a little easier, but, checking that and, in the winter we ship everything with, again, assuming it's cold, a heat pack and a phase pack. So that we just started using 72-hour packs, because they're just better. They don't get so hot, but they, the amount of delays is just, we had 3 delays this week. And it's just, to me, it stresses me out. Like, even if it doesn't matter what the cost of the gecko is, I'm just like, come on, like, because I know, like, sometimes customers that are like people that are brand new, they think it's your, like, it's you, like, it's your fault that this animal, I'm like,
you scammed me.
I'm like, like, it shows up cold. It's like, well, it's 30 degrees, but, just get, and then I ship twice a week, and I drive to FedEx, and I go as late as possible, so that, they're in a box as late as possible, or, as least amount of time as possible. We're starting to do like a foam insert, or like I'm starting to research that so that when that goes in the box and the cups go in the box and they can't move at all, but it breathes and all that stuff. Because, with leopard geckos, you have to worry about the drop tail, which is rare, but it does happen. So, like, any way we can minimize that. But as far as the customer, unless it's like a breeder that I know, I put a note in every one about what to do when it arrives. When should we start handling it? When should you start feeding it? That kind of stuff. And just communicating with them beforehand, and like, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Like, it's not lost. Like, that's the biggest thing. If your package isn't lost, you're good. Most, knock on wood. But that's like, it just reassure them that we know where it's at. It's not outside. It's going to get there super early tomorrow. I try to make everyone go to a hub, because that's definitely the best way to ship. So just overly communicating with people and usually people appreciate that. So, and when they don't appreciate it, well, all right. I mean, and I'm over here like just stressing out, like, it's because we just want our animals to get there safely, and, it's like, but like, I've had dings on shipping for because I don't ship during the holidays. That's just what I personally don't do it. And like, people will like complain about that. It's like, well, you obviously didn't really want a gecko if you can't wait 2 or 3 weeks for it. So
trust me, dude, I feel you.
Kind of just weed those people out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for answering that, man. It's shipping is stressful. You get these questions here and there that you're just kind of like, as soon as you get them, they're worded a certain way that when you have a lot of experience, you're like, shit, and then you'll get a photo, a video, because typically your customers are really cool. They are very concerned, and they're going to send those your way, but you're waiting on those. And then, so there's that. But in the winter,
I'll just say that invest the $4 to get phase packs, or cryo packs.
Yeah.
It makes a difference in it.
Oh yeah.
And if nothing else, it's like it makes you feel better too. But it's worth the money. Sorry.
And for everybody, don't throw cryo packs away when you get animals.
Yeah.
Save
you
those.
remember Jen? It was so funny, man. She was doing backflips in her reptile room because she had to ship out a bunch of animals, and she had no cryo packs. I had to send her some, and I'm just like, didn't you buy a bunch of animals not too long ago? She's like, yeah, I didn't realize I chucked all them in the trash. I'm like, what? You're throwing $5 bills in the trash? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yep.
She definitely got a kick out of
that.
But
the 72-hour heat pack is really good too.
Yeah.
Well, no, man. So you make a lot of great points. I want to say I appreciate you coming on today and hanging out with us, and just letting us get to know you, let the community get to know you better. Because that last podcast, we can't find it. So it's good to get you a stamp out here on the internet besides your beautiful geckos. So is there anything you want to tell the people before we close out? Besides, check out the links in the description for your boy here. But anything you want to close out with?
No, I mean just check out our Instagram. We're working on our site. Should be done sooner than later, but kind of get lazy.
You got a website coming?
Yeah, we're working on one. I kind of have
it's nice.
I have a vision, and pursuing perfection is never good. So it's because then you never put it out there. So, but we have products and stuff too, and so we need to have a way of moving those. So, but anyways, so just check that out, and keep loving geckos, and thanks for taking the time. I appreciate we've had so much support, especially this year. I just want to say thank you to all the people that have purchased from us or just liked our posts and stuff. It's really been overwhelming at times, and in a great way, of course.
Yeah. Brings a tear to your eye.
And it was very nice having you on. We also want to say thanks to the people supporting us, because we've gotten quite a few new subscribers lately, and people reaching out in the comments or texting, and always positive notes. A couple of critiques here and there, like, "Hey Joe, pick your head up." That's why I keep mentioning that.
Look at me, Joe. Look at me.
Yeah, Junior's like, "Joe, look at me." All right, well. Thank you, everybody in the comments.
You guys
everybody who watched
keep
live.
improving, and it's a great show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.